threatening me?
That's right.
That would be a bad idea.
If you can't tell, this is the Deuce and Ace review for Dark Phoenix.
I'm Deuce.
I'm Ace.
And this is Deuce and Ace, Bro to the Movies.
So we just came from seeing X-Men Dark Phoenix, the supposed final chapter in the Fox X-Men saga. And, it was underwhelming, to say the least. I've never been a big fan of this, younger generation of X-Men. Love James McAvoy as Charles Xavier. Love Michael Fassbender as Magneto. But the rest of the cast kind of meh.
So, we left the theater and I said, dude, Ace, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not even going to say nothing about the movie.
We rode in silence.
We rode in silence because I knew he didn't like it, and I'm going to be honest, I kind of liked the movie.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not going to say I liked it. I'm not going to say it was a good movie, but I kind of liked it.
It's not the worst X-Men movie. It's not the worst movie we've seen all year. And I can't even say that...
Brightburn is the worst movie we've seen all year.
Sure. Whatever. Dumbo, probably the worst movie I've seen.
Touché.
Even though I think I gave it a better score than Brightburn. But, yeah, I walked in, just from the trailers alone, I was like, man, I'm probably not going to like this movie. So it's not like I was shocked. It's not like, I'm like, man, I came out mad. I'm just... Yeah, it's just another 2-hour X-Men movie where stuff happens.
Yes, and so the stuff that happens, as he mentioned, James McAvoy as Professor Xavier, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, the guy who plays B-Side, what's his name?
He was just J.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult, Ty Sheridan as Cyclops, Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, something McPhee as Nightcrawler,
Alexandra Shipp as Storm.
And so, it's the same most of the same characters from Apocalypse. They're the X-Men, they're somewhat established and they're going off to space. NASA needs their help, and so they send the X-Men. They have a rescue mission, and the Phoenix Force, this is not a spoiler, this is in the previews.
It's called Dark Phoenix.
Enters Jean Grey. And the movie proceeds to show how Jean Grey deals with the Phoenix Force and, how the Phoenix Force controls her and, things go a little haywire.
And there's a new character, Jessica Chastain as whatever her name was. Yeah, they literally never said her name throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and she is... Okay, that would be a spoiler, but she's a character and...
wasted.
Well, you could agree or disagree that she was wasted, but she had a purpose, and she drove the plot of the movie somewhat. And so, yes, this movie is very small in scope. Now, don't get me wrong. To me, I thought there was a lot of beautiful scenes. Like, the action to me was cool. Like
the limited action that there was cool.
Limited action?
Yes, limited action.
You're going to say this movie didn't have more action than Godzilla? Or had less action than Godzilla?
It may have had more action scenes than Godzilla, but Godzilla had more action. You can't tell me Godzilla v. Ghidorah wasn't better than Spoiler v. Spoiler.
I don't know who Spoiler v. Spoiler is.
Just any of the fight scenes.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed the fight scenes. What I didn't enjoy was the lame dialogue. What I didn't enjoy was how everyone except Professor X, Magneto, Jean Grey, and her name, she did not get called Mystique.
No one got called. The only person who got called by their X-Men name was Storm. And it's like because they didn't want to say Aurora or something. They're like, Jean Grey doesn't have an X-Men name in pop culture. They're like, Scott, Kurt, Raven. I'm like...
Yeah, they call... The whole movie... I mean... They called her Raven so much, I just got tired. It's going to be a whole section devoted to Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. Yeah, the 4 characters. Mystique, Magneto, Xavier, and Jean Grey. And so, it's like, if it's not about them, these X-Men, these legendary comic book characters, are relegated to the sideline. Cyclops, all he does is cry, Jean. all movie. Like he had some cool scenes, but it's just
he didn't.
literally he's just whining for Jean. Oh, Jean, 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 Jean.
Where's Jean?
That's it, man. In all these X-Men movies, they do my man Cyclops dirty.
He's only been in 2 of them.
Not just Ty Sheridan. I'm talking about even in the original ones. But yeah. So it's an anticlimactic finish, you know, with the purchase of 20th Century Fox by Disney. This is it. Don't know if New Mutants is going to be released or not, and this was it didn't end on a bang. It didn't end on a bad note. It was blah.
And it's kind of a fitting end for, you know, the X-Men universe as a whole. Most of X-Men has just been kind of blah. Like, you know, they have some hits, they have some great movies, but most of it's been either bad or just like, okay, these movies, they have the characters I like, but they're not the iterations of the characters that I want to see.
Definitely not the iterations. But I did enjoy the movie. So, you know, if we were to... I know it's the lowest grossing X-Men film release. I know it has a horrible Rotten Tomato score. But I would go see... You know, recommend you see this movie.
It's going to have a horrible Deuce Ace score, too.
It was entertaining. Dialogue aside. Side characters aside. I mean, I felt for Jean Grey. I don't like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, but I thought she did a good job with the material she was given.
Okay, with the material she was given, yes. But the material she was given, most of the movie, she's just like cried, talking, and whining throughout the whole film. And I'm like, man, whoever wrote this movie, you're some butt sauce.
Simon Kinberg.
I know he produced
it. He produced it, he wrote it, and directed it.
Well, Simon Kinberg, you're gone, man. Like, the dialogue was on, like, elementary school theater levels bad. You seen the trailers? She's like, I do bad things, and it makes me feel good. Like, that's all? It's just, again, very underwhelmed by this movie.
Yeah, the movie is limited in scope. Like, it could potentially be a huge scope, but yeah, director Simon Kinberg, whoever, doesn't know what to do with it, doesn't know what to do with the characters, doesn't know what to do with the materials. Now, there's a lot more issues that we want to talk about, but we got to get into spoilers for that. So I think this is the perfect time to give our scores.
All right, on the count of 3.
3,
3, 2, 1, 4. All right, that's a 4.5.
Yeah. And that, you know, I don't know what the Rotten Tomato score is, the cinema score is, but it seems about what it is. So, yeah, you know, I'm giving praise. He's not. It's time to break.
Giving praise, but gave it a 5. It can't be that much praise.
I'm saying it's not bad. It's not good. It's right in the middle. It's a 5. But 4.5 is the Deuce Ace score. As always, we're about to get into the spoiler talk. So make sure to like, subscribe.
You know, hit us up on Facebook,
Twitter, Instagram.
IG.
You know what it is.
Yeah, you know, if you want to be in a movie review, drop a comment, let us know. If you think it's a movie that we should review, please just let us know.
Yep. So now it's time for spoilers. All right. We never want to give the impression that we're misogynist, anti-women, anything of that nature. I love women. I assume Ace loves women.
I do love women.
I love women characters. I assume Ace loves women characters.
I mean, I love any good character. Man, woman, alien, animal, it doesn't matter. If it's a good character, we're going to invest our time with that character.
Yes. And with that introduction, this is the spoiler talk. Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. You know, our videos have just been us talking, but I'm going to find a picture, and it's going to be a picture right now of the evolution of Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique right now. And as you can see, it has progressively moved away from Mystique. It is now just Jennifer Lawrence in blueface, and I find it offensive.
I'm not going to say I find it offensive, but Deuce is completely correct. It's as J-Law's star has grown, it's like, oh, I'm too good to be regular Mystique. I have to be more of my features in it. It's one scene in this movie where they come back from outer space and she's talking to all the other mutants, and for no reason she is transformed into regular human Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, I guess because Jennifer Lawrence needed screen time to warrant however much money she makes. But it's like, it makes no sense. We get it. She's a huge star. But don't cater to her needs above everyone else.
Because her scenes in this movie are cringeworthy. For whatever reason, they've made her
She is the main X-Men.
She's the main X-Men. She's calling the shots. She's on level with Professor X. Charles, I ain't doing that, dog. Like, I'm not ready for that. She's Scott, shoot the blast. Kurt, go do this. Like, why? She is a villain. She is either in the Brotherhood of Mutants or, doing her own villain thing. She is evil. She's not the most evil of characters, but Mystique is not an X-Men. Mystique is a villain. Watch X-Men Evolution. Watch the original X-Men trilogy. She is a villain who fights. She is not a motivational speech character.
Yeah, and it's as if they want us to believe that Raven is the heart of the whole film. Throughout the movie, they're like, oh, that's not... major spoilers. But yeah, throughout this whole X-Men First Class... I mean, in First Class, it wasn't as bad.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Like, she meets Charles Xavier and then she goes off with Magneto at the end. So, alright, so she's going to end up with Magneto, as she is in the comics. Then, Days of Future Past, you're like, oh, she's trying to murder Boulevard Trask. I'm like, what? Why is she the... Is that his name?
Yeah.
Why is she the major character in this film? And it's just gotten worse from there.
But even then, I could accept that because she's still doing villainous stuff.
Yeah, but I can't accept that she is the main... Why wouldn't Magneto... Because he wasn't a villain in First Class. We see his transformation, his fall from grace into becoming a villain. But then, just at the end of Days of Future Past, they just tack on, oh, she didn't kill him, but Magneto took over the Sentinels and now he's evil. It's like, just so random. It's like, Jennifer Lawrence... when did First Class come out? 2009?
Sure.
Yeah, around that time. And I guess that's around when Hunger Games came out, and she started becoming a huge star. So they're like, oh, we got this gem, we got to force her into the movies. But no one wants to see a Mystique movie. I paid or didn't pay to see an X-Men movie.
Even if I wanted to see a Mystique movie, I would want to see a Mystique movie. Not this caricature called Raven. See... So there's a scene where her and Jean Grey and Charles can't motivate her, but Mystique can. Excuse me, Raven can. And then she says this crazy scene. So they go to space. Cool scene. Nightcrawler is teleporting Quicksilver. And again, I don't like Quicksilver's X-Men, and he was underutilized in this film. That was like their big guy in the past.
After this scene, there's one scene where he's just like comatose for the whole movie.
Yeah, he's out of this movie.
It's as if like a super speedster would have solved all the problems. So like, I'll just write him out.
Yep. But so it's cool. They saving the astronauts. Then Jean Grey, gets on the spaceship. All this stuff. The Phoenix Force. Blah 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 blah. Scott uses his eyes through a turret on a space.
It was pretty cool. Like a cool use of his abilities through the jet.
Yeah. So we got Cyclops. We got Nightcrawler. We got Quicksilver.
And no one's calling them by their names again.
Yeah.
Like Scott, Pietro, or Peter, whatever they call him.
So they saved the day. At this point in time, you've seen the previews. Spaceship blows up. Phoenix Force enters Jeans, but she's not dead. Yada yada yada. So they get back on Earth, and Raven is like, Charles, man, you're gonna get us killed. Blah 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 blah. And she's going on rambling, whatever.
Oh, and she's probably right. Charles is sending them on these dangerous missions to give the good face to mutants. Like, look, Americans, we're helping everyone. Don't harm us. So she's right. He is going out of his way, putting them in danger.
Yes, and then she says this. She said, the women are saving you guys so much. Shouldn't be called the X-Men. It should be called the X-Women. What? Get out of here! I taking the hat off. Dog, I can't. The scene was cringeworthy. Again, I have nothing against strong women. I got a daughter. I want her to be a strong woman. I got a mom. I got a sister. I got a wife. I got female cousins. Like, I want them to be strong women. I have nothing against strong women. But may your strength come from you. May your strength come from what you do. Mystique, you've done nothing. The women... Jean Grey did stuff, but it was a team effort. Men is just a generic sense in this term. It's not sexist to call them X-Men. Jean Grey never complained about being an X-Men. Jubilee, Storm, they're X-Men.
Wait, hold on, don't even bring up Jubilee. They have done Jubilee dirty in every single X-Men film ever. Where is she at? They'll have her cast and she'll say one line, but that's it, dog. Justice for Jubilee.
Justice for Jubilee.
I'm gonna have to completely agree with Deuce on this point. And Sophie Turner's character, she's a stronger woman than Mystique. So it's like they're trying to have her be, and I think this was in maybe Apocalypse or Days of Future Past 2, they're like, oh, everyone wants to be like Mystique. She's like, no, nothing that Mystique has done in any of these movies has shown that she is a quote-unquote strong, not even woman, just strong person, strong mutant. There are strong women in Marvel films and X-Men films. Storm is a strong woman. Jean Grey is a strong woman. But why is the focus so heavily on Mystique?
Black Widow is a strong woman, in the MCU. But never once did they emphasize her being a woman as a source of her strength. Like, no, you see that she's strong because she's kicking butt. Like, she's a human and she's with these superpower beings. Thus, she's strong. You don't have to be called a woman to be strong. And you also didn't save the day. Like, what is the basis? Okay, enough. Mystique is killed, and I clapped. Jeez Louise, get rid of that character. I wish they would make another movie solely for the fact so that they could have an X-Men movie without Jennifer Lawrence in it. Jeez. Hat back on.
Well, it seems like Deuce hated the movie more than me at this point.
I didn't hate the movie. Like, again, stunning visuals. Like, we saw it in IMAX, and like the sound is like Hans Zimmer put in work on that score. I'm a Hans Zimmer fan. I just listened to This Land from Lion King, the original Lion King, earlier today. So I love Hans Zimmer. Prince of Egypt, dope music. Like, I could go on. The music elevated this movie. If this movie did not have Hans Zimmer behind the score, different movie.
Deuce is going on and on about Hans Zimmer, but let's get back into the meat of this movie. I want to hit you guys with some positives.
Positive, yes.
James McAvoy kills it as Professor X. I'd say one of my favorite actors of this generation. If you've seen Split, Oscar-worthy performance. This dude just brings it. You see, Professor X, he's kind of portrayed as not a bad guy, but kind of a gray guy. So he sets up barriers around Jean Grey's mind because she accidentally killed her parents as a child. So he wants to protect her from that. And, they're like, why are you messing with this child's mind? So he's doing some morally ambiguous things. And, man, James McAvoy you can really see that he is not stricken, but he is conflicted with what he's doing. Michael Fassbender as Magneto, again, amazing actor. The only two actors I like in this whole film.
They bring the gravitas. Like, when Jean Grey flies, it's like, okay, she's flying. When Storm flies, it's like, okay, cool, she's flying. When Magneto Genosha, that's the home for mutants that Magneto has, read the comics, watch the show. But when he comes just flying, this dude just can't, like, the whole movie has been redeemed when he flies down to meet Jean Grey at Genosha.
Not redeemed per se, but yeah, just an amazing scene. And as Deuce was saying about Hans Zimmer, the score of Magneto's on there. You got the bass in, you got the dissonant sounds. You're like, man, Magneto, he's like my second favorite character in these movies.
Magneto, and at least in this movie, was number one for me. Like,
oh yeah, number one in this movie.
Magneto.
That's about it on the positives for me.
Okay, well, some more. I don't know. Like, just when they actually utilized their powers in tandem, like Nightcrawler was dope. Again, I can't stand the actor. I can't stand how skinny and scrawny they made him. But his scenes, especially when he not hulked out, but when he started killing Bam. Oh, the villains in this movie are aliens. The Dabari.
Yeah, Dabari. D apostrophe.
Random piece of feather there.
You ain't even get it.
Anyway.
The Dabari.
Dabari. So they're like aliens that the Phoenix Force, which is never called the Phoenix Force in the movie.
All right, let's talk about the Dabari for a minute. Because this really, it didn't ruin the movie for me, but it worsened the movie for me. So I'm assuming they're telling the truth. Their leader is one of the aliens, transforms into Jessica Chastain. So she's the Dabari leader. And she's talking to Jean Grey. She's like, oh, the Phoenix Force destroyed our home world. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. So now we've been following it through space. We followed it to you. And their whole plan is to just absorb the Phoenix Force from Jean Grey. Why couldn't she have just absorbed the Phoenix Force when it was destroying her planet?
Yeah.
Why did any of this movie have to happen?
Yeah.
Why in X-Men Apocalypse was Jean Grey already possessing the Phoenix Force to destroy Apocalypse when she just got hit with the Phoenix Force in this movie?
In videos. Continuity issues, but so those are the villains. And they're not mutants, they're aliens, they're shapeshifters like the Skrulls, and they're kind of just fodder for the fight scenes. And going back to Nightcrawler kills them. Scott's put in that work. Like, everyone's fighting these dudes. Storm's electrocuting them. So I just like how they use the powers. The power scenes look cool. The X-Jet taking off, like going into space. The CGI was good in this movie.
Yeah, all right,
very believable. The acting was bad. The dialogue was bad. But not world building, but the scenes look good on camera.
So the negatives, and there are a bunch. All right, first up, we already talked about Mystique. I'm not going back into it, but I kind of am. So after Mystique dies, everything just like crumbles. So like, well, what would Raven have done? Raven said this, Raven said that. So when Beast tells Magneto that Raven dies, he's like, oh, I'm going to kill Jean Grey for this. It's like, we know that Magneto and Mystique are close based off of comics, TV shows, previous movies, but nothing in the world that they've created has led me to believe that Magneto would even care that Mystique was killed. And that's the whole driving force of the second half of this film. It's like, oh, Raven said, why did you kill her, Jean? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, come on, you got to make it worthwhile. You have to show, don't tell. Show us that Scott and Jean love each other. Show us that Raven and...
Well, they tried to show you that, like, when they're on the spaceship and he touches
He
her
literally
arm.
just touched her arm,
And they
make out. They're in love.
I'm just saying, it doesn't do a good job, but they're trying to show.
No, they're just like, oh, these characters are together in the comics, so they have to be together in this movie. So, well, we haven't set that up at all, so let's just show them touching each other.
Well, I think that's the whole issue with all these X-Men movies. Well, not all, since First Class. One, the time jump, but there's nothing, like, there's a 10-year time jump in between movies, but there's nothing substantial to show us character development, to show us relationship building. Like, I don't care about Jean Grey. Not because of the actress, not because of the acting, but because she was introduced last movie, had 5 minutes in that movie, and now she's supposed to be someone who I care about and care about her loved ones and, relationships. I don't. Like, who's the hero of this movie? You villainize Professor Xavier for what he did. Magneto's a villain because, like, he's instantly ready to kill. Jean Grey's not the hero. I mean, she straight up killed a parent.
You know the answer. Mystique is the hero. She is the driving force of this film. It's like her essence is what everyone...
And that's crazy. That's crazy because... Not because she's not a hero in the comics or whatever. You can... But it's an undeserved herodom that's given to her. So, in reality, there's no hero to this movie. There's no protagonist. It's just a bunch of...
I'm saying Jean Grey is definitely the protagonist.
But she's also the antagonist.
No, she's antagonistic towards everyone else, but she's the protagonist of the story.
But it's not earned protagonism, if that's a word. But it's more so she's only the protagonist because we don't want her to be the antagonist. I mean, she literally murdered the cops. She literally killed Mystique. She literally was a douchebag to people trying to help her. I don't see any redeeming qualities to her except for the fact that, she can't be evil.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, but maybe this film doesn't have a protagonist. Maybe this film is just a collection of scenes that they thought would be cool, that weren't that cool, with a loose storyline throughout, with bad acting, and just dumbness, just butt sauce all around.
I think you described this movie in a nutshell.
Yeah, but you were talking about the time jumps in between each movie. Professor X and Magneto should be 60 plus years old by Magneto was in the Holocaust, so at most he was like 8 years old in the 40s. It's the 90s by now, but he still looks like a 30-year-old. What is going on in these movies? Alright, Mystique I could kind of get, she has a healing factor, she ages differently, but Professor X, he's bald now. He still looks like a 30-year-old bald dude. What was, in the last movie, Jean Grey and Cyclops and them, they were teenagers. Now, 10 years later, they look the exact same. Why are we skipping around decades so much?
Also, Scott has no neck, and the worst mutant feature in this movie was Dazzler. Look her up. She's a mutant. She's like, it's kind of like Jubilee, I guess. And she was just singing. Like, what a waste. Garbage. Butt sauce.
I mean, now it's just going to be like small nitpicks. I didn't like the movie overall. But there's one scene, all the Dabari, the aliens, they've taken human identities and they're speaking to each other in their guttural alien language with subtitles. Then one randomly says, "Can you speak English?" Like, yeah. So then they just speak English the whole time to each other. Just like small things like that. It's just, this wasn't a good movie to me. Alright, anything else to add, Deuce?
No, I mean, the first third of the movie, Mystique was just making me gag. Once she got killed, I got into the movie. It had its flaws, but yeah, that's why I gave it a 5. I didn't hate it. I didn't enjoy it. It just was.
He brought up X-Men Evolution earlier. To me, that is peak X-Men. You know, maybe it's nostalgia because I liked it growing up, but they just did the storyline so well. The characters were so fleshed out. And I just feel let down most of the times when I go to see X-Men in the theaters. Like, Dark Phoenix, it should be an epic culmination. We should care about Jean Grey. We should care about the trials that she's going through. And there was a good movie in this movie if they had fleshed it out. You know, Jean Grey, the trauma that she had as a kid. Professor X messing with her mind, and is she bad? Is she good? This and that. But all the alien stuff with the Dabari, they're like, it just ruined it. 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 4.5 out of 10. We're Deuce and Ace. Again, like, subscribe, hit us up on social media.
Share.
Yeah, please share, comment. You know, shout out to the boys. You know who you are.
Yeah, you do. You know, in light of this movie, in honor of this movie, we're going to rank our X-Men movies. So be on the lookout for that video. Link in the description when that video drops. So, yeah. Favorite X-Men movies, we're going to rank them, including Deadpool and stuff, too. I'm Deuce.
I'm Ace.
And this has been Deuce and Ace, Bro to the Movies, out.